me to join IPDC as head of operations, he showed me a dream that, Momin, this is a very small organization at its humble position, but together we will make this an extraordinary organization. And I was convinced. I decided to leave Stanchard and join IPDC as head of operations. But my bosses at Standard Chartered, they could not comprehend why I was in the world having a very promising career and join a very small unknown organization here in Bangladesh named IPDC. I still can hear these questions continuously hammering on my head. Why, Momin, why? But I stuck to my decision. I joined IPDC, and the decision turned out to be a disaster. Okay, I did not have any clue about the situation of IPDC at that time. This was an iconic institution in 80s and 90s, but it also had its fall. The time I joined IPDC, it was literally on the verge of collapse. We had one of the highest non-performing loan in the industry. At that time, it was 37%. We have acute shortage of fund, and most importantly, we have a very demotivated, disengaged, and disgruntled set of employees who were looking and counting days when they can leave IPDC. I joined as head of operations at IPDC, but there was no operations department in the company. So my first job at IPDC was to draw a functional organizational structure which is very essential for a financial institution. So this was one of the leading financial institutions, but there was no IT system in the company. So what we did, we took the step to implement the first ever core banking system for the company. I hardly had any resource under my disposal. I had only 5, 6 very young people. Other departments did not want them. So when the new department, operations was created, they were shifted under me. So these are the 5, 6 people. But we really started working very, very hard to put things in place. Okay? So to give you some example, in the month of November and December 2006, for the 2 months, we did not go back to our houses during the weekend. We used to come to office during morning. Regular work started from 9 o'clock on the Thursday. And evening, we started our project work for system implementation. So we used to work Thursday whole night, Friday whole night, Friday whole day, Friday whole night, and after 48 hours, only in the morning of Saturdays, we used to go back to our house, take a hot shower, a good brunch, and used to sleep for around 18 to 20 hours. And then again Sunday morning, regular office work. Showing me as an example, the CEO was able to bring in few bright and very dynamic people from few other multinational banks as department or business heads. But nobody want to work for a sinking ship. These people started leaving the organization one by one. First, the head of retail business decided to leave IPDC. So the CEO called me and asked me whether I can take care of the retail business beside my role as head of operations. I said, indeed. So I started taking care of the retail business beside my operations department. Then the head of corporate business left. And this time as well, I was asked whether I can look after corporate beside those two departments. So I happily said, yes, of course. So then I had 3 departments under my supervision. Then the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Risk Officer also left. By the end of 2007, I had almost all the departments under me to small departments. Then came January 2008. I received a call from my CEO from USA. He was there on his annual vacation. And he called me and said, Momin, I have decided to leave IPDC and I will be joining a bank. So there was an urgent meeting of the board called, and the board, having no other options, made me the acting CEO of the company. Okay? So that was in 2008. I was 31 years old and having only 9 years of work experience. I worked with the new team days and night for 6 months till a permanent CEO joined the company. But unfortunately, he did not also stay long. Within 3 months, he decided to leave IPDC to join a bank as qualification criteria for the CEO position. At that time, to become a CEO in any financial institution, you required minimum bachelor's degree and 12 years experience. So I had the bachelor's degree, of course, but I did not have the 12 years experience. I had only 9.5 years experience. So Bangladesh Bank turned down the proposal of the board of directors of IPDC. So the board had to really look for another CEO from the market. So there was another person came in at the end in 2009, and she worked for around 3 years with IPDC. At the end of 2011, she decided to leave IPDC. By that time, I had the 12 years experience, and this time the board made me the CEO, which was approved by Bangladesh Bank. So that is how, when everybody else did not wanted to work for IPDC, I stuck to my initial decision, and that's how I became the CEO. So I'll give, say, 3 lessons I learned from the story of my becoming CEO. I'll just share with you. So first one is perseverance. When everybody gave up, I held on to it. Okay? So nothing in this life will come easily. You have to really, really work hard. Raw, brutal, hard work. That is the key to success in life. If you think things will come to you easily, most probably that will not come in your life. You may be very lucky once or twice, but if you really want to do something extraordinary, something meaningful, something great, you have to make sure you work hard and you have the perseverance. If you give up, you stop there. If you want to really reach to your milestone, you have to really have the perseverance. Then the second P. You saw I was given additional responsibilities one after another without having any additional remuneration. Generally, people react to that kind of a situation. Why I will be working so hard when the organization or the people around me is not acknowledging or rewarding me? But on the other hand, I took this as the opportunity for learning. Without spending a single penny, I was learning things. The corporate business, retail business, the finance department, the credit risk department. So all these, I learned within a couple of years. In a normal course of action, that would have taken at least 10 years time. So I saved 10 years time, learned few very basic things without spending a money. So that is the key to success, having a continuous or having a deep passion for continuous learning. So that passion part is somewhere will set you apart from the others. As we are moving towards the era of fourth industrial revolution, the continuous learning has become more essential. Everything around us are changing. The skills which are most essential today may become irrelevant in 5 to 10 years. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, blockchain, neuroscience, neurobiology, all these phenomena are not only changing how we work, this is also changing fundamentally who we are as human beings. So to survive and to succeed, you have to have a passion for continuous learning. And the third P is the purpose, having a sense of purpose. You remember the boss, the first boss, the CEO, he gave me a dream that we will be building an extraordinary company in IPDC. Okay? He forgot about the dream. I did not forget. Throughout these days, that dream, that sense of purpose really drove me to really work hard, to really make sure I inculcate the same dream to the members of IPDC family. So you see the extraordinary results of IPDC these days. That was not because of what I have done. I say today we have 625 team members at IPDC. Each one of them, from security guard, from a clerk, from a management trainee who has just joined yesterday, to the very senior departmental heads, everyone must act, must interact, must think like a CEO. So I say there is 625 CEOs at IPDC at this moment. And that has made all the difference. Okay? As CEO of the CEOs, my job is to ensure I inculcate a deep sense of purpose, a great dream in my team members. Okay? So that's how I became the CEO of IPDC, and I am running these organizations. So I have been advised by Corby not to talk too much myself, but allow you people to really ask some very difficult, some very interesting questions. But to tell you the truth, I really like stupid questions. Okay, so the stupid questions means you open up your heart. যখন মানুষ তার মনের কথাটা বলতে পারে তখন তার সত্যিকারের জিজ্ঞাসাটা বের হয়ে আসে। So knowing to ask the question is one of the best quality you can have in your life. So please ask any question you have in your mind. As I am in a financial institution, my job is also to make sure that today's entrepreneurs get access to fund easily and smoothly. I know that is the most burning problem you have, not access to enough fund and having the bankers or financial institutions having a very bureaucratic and negative look towards you. So of course you can ask question about those finance issues, but at the same time you can really ask any other issues or problems or share any ideas you think is appropriate. Please go ahead. Yes, many hands. So volunteers, please. Yeah, anyone? You give somebody who is near to you. Yes, of course.
everyone. My name is Tawhidul Islam. Actually, sir, I want to know, is there any requirement to get financial? My question is, what are the requirements to get any financial support from IPDC to start any kind of business? Either is it small or big?
Okay, great. So this depends on the type of business you are doing. So I understand, as you are a young fellow, this is basically a new business. So you must have a legal business entity in Bangladesh. Okay. So that means you have to have a trade license, and if you want more than 2 lakh taka, you have to have a tax identification number, and you have to have a business which is sustainable. So there are different sources of fund for any business. When it's a startup, generally you don't go to bank or financial institution, you go to, say, these few investors like angel investors or your family members. Then you go to a little bit institutional source of fund like this venture capital. Once you have a steady cash flow, you go to bank or financial institution because they give mainly the debt product, the loans. So loan is something where you have limited risk and limited return, but you mandatorily have to pay back. So if you have an experimentation going on, which is yet to be stabilized, it's not very wise to go to a bank or financial institution for your, say, fund problem. Most probably, the kind of alternative sources we were discussing, I think in the previous session, that will be more appropriate. But definitely, we want to make sure new entrepreneurs coming up, we have a mandate to create 2,000 new entrepreneurs by 2020. So we are working with many of the entrepreneurs. Yes, please. I think many hands. Yes.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fahim. Sir, I am a supply chain analyst. I have done it from CSCA. So basically my question is, when we studied supply chain, it was basically on FMGC companies. But from a textile engineering background student, I would like to know your comments on supply chain revolution in the garment trade. Thank you.
Thank you. So I am not a supply chain specialist. I am a supply chain financier. So what we used to do, basically, when someone is supplying the small SMEs, like entrepreneurs like you, few of you want to be the entrepreneurs. So when you supply to a big company, we give you the working capital based on the work order you have or bill you have. But on the other hand, on the supply chain arena, the limited idea we have, there is a lot of going on into collaboration. So there is a concept or the sentence I always say, collaboration is the new innovation. Okay? So with the help of technology, the suppliers, distributors, the corporates, their financiers, logistic companies, all are getting integrated. And that is where lots of inefficiency are getting freed from the ecosystem. Second one is, previously we had vertical collaboration. Now we are having horizontal collaboration, whereby you can also have a collaboration with your competition to optimize resource utilization. So these are things coming up also on the environmental side. Many things are going on because supply chain consume around 85% of the resource of a manufacturing company. So the resource optimization, the environmental consequences, that is also coming up, like circular economy is coming up in big way into supply chain. But I am not a supply chain expert. So I am a banker, I am a financier. Anyone from the back? Some lady is raising her hand. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much for recognizing me. I want to ask you, as you share your story, you started from 2006, your story. I want to ask, when you was a youth and you don't have experience, was to become a CEO of a great company was your dreams, or you just work hard and you achieve it in your life or path of life? And I have second question. And my second question is about the entrepreneurs who are starting their own businesses. Like finding money for starting the business is half of the problem, but the most cases that entrepreneurs falls down, the new businesses, is because they cannot manage the budget. That's why they bankrupted and it falls down. What do you suggest is this part? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the first one, when I look at you people, I feel excited, I feel encouraged about the future of Bangladesh. I think in the last session, one of the panelists was telling this. When we were at your age, when we were in our schools, colleges, or universities, nobody, our parents, our family members, relatives, our teachers, nobody really encouraged us to pursue our dream. We were a generation which were governed by rules and regulation. Okay? So every time we used to hear like this: study hard, study regularly, have a enrollment in a prestigious university, get a good grade, and join a multinational organization. That was like a height of achievement for us. You people have so many aspirations and you have the courage to pursue that. So you are in a much better shape than us. So I am very confident each one of you will be achieving much more than me or contributing much better than me for this country. Okay. And another thing, you remember that 3 P's: perseverance, the passion for continuous learning, and a sense of purpose in life. These 3 P together, I say, the CEO attitude. If you have that attitude, you are a CEO. So you don't need to wait till 35 like me to become a CEO. If you have that attitude, perseverance, passion, and purpose, you are a CEO from right at this moment. From right at this moment, each one of you can be a CEO. There will be, of course, time of despair, failure, but success will be defined not by how fast you can run, but by how fast you can get up after once you have fallen. So the way you can really absorb the adversaries, the difficulties, the odds, that will define who you are in the life going forward. I think my time is up, but there are so many hands. How we can really address this issue? Okay, we'll take another question, but what we'll do, I am here for next couple of hours. I think during lunch session, if you have question, you can do that. And also my email address is very easy to remember, ceo@ipdcbd.com. Please send your queries to me over email. I will try my best to respond as soon as possible. So one last question, I think at the front. We have taken most of the questions from the back.
As a young entrepreneur, what will be the difficulties I'll face and how I will overcome them?
Right. So basically, the problem at every stage you will face problem. Okay. I think Osama was telling, or someone was telling, that say you have a big dream, but when you start, say, walking on the street, you will see the ground reality. But the biggest problem is that not having confidence in you. If you have the confidence, you will be overcoming those. So first thing is how you can really effectively communicate your idea to a third person, be it your investor, financier, somebody you want to hire, a co-sponsor, or your, say, market, the business partner, customer, anybody, everywhere. An idea in your head is not an idea till it is communicated effectively. So prepare yourself well ahead of time that how are you going to tell your story to others. Okay? Many of the people you have said that I want to do a business, but I see so many problems. I see that the banks do not listen to me. They do not want to give me finance. I tell you that you will always see the kind of difference in people asking for support. So কেউ আমরা কখনো টাকা ধার করতে কাউকে টাকা ধার দিয়েছি আমরা? কে কে টাকা ধার দিয়েছি? প্লিজ রেইজ ইওর হ্যান্ড। অনেকে টাকা ধার দিয়েছি। ওকে, সো ইউ আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড টাকা ধার দেওয়ার সময় প্লিজ প্লিজ সো টাকা ধার দেওয়ার সময় আমরা কি দেখি? আমি যখন দেখি যে ও টাকাটা নিয়ে কোনো একটা খারাপ কাজ করবে তখন আমি টাকা ধার দিব। আমি যদি দেখি যে ও টাকাটা নিয়ে আমাকে আর কখনো ফেরত দিবে না তখন আমি টাকা ধার দিব। হয়তো অল্প কিছু টাকা হলে, ফার্স্ট বার হলে আমি বলবো যে ওকে টাকাটা না দিলেও এটাকে দান হিসেবে দিচ্ছি। বাট ইফ ইট ইজ এ লোন, আই উইল want to make sure that he has the capability and intention to pay me back. So ওই যে capability and intention টা কিভাবে বুঝবে? আমি তো as a bank or financial institution, I have not gone into the head of that person or I have not seen the heart. Okay? How I will understand as a bank or financial institution, not as a person, but as an institution. I will understand when you have a effective communication. You have clearly articulated what you want to do and how you will be paying me back. Okay? So this is from the finance part. But in any other area, you want to hire a person in your organization, you want a partner, or you want to sell the product to a company or an individual, you need to have a effective communication. So that is where I think today's generation need to really work hard how effectively you communicate, because there are so much of noises these days. There are so many voices around. Who is going to listen to you if you do not have a unique voice, if you do not have a compelling story, if you do not have a sense of purpose which maybe others are lacking? You have a commercial motivation, I will have a commercial motivation. If you have a sense of purpose, I will reciprocate by having a sense of purpose by supporting you. So you have to make sure you convince me with your sense of purpose.
Thank you so much. No wonder he is the outstanding CEO of the year. And I would like to take the opportunity to honor Mr. Mominul Islam and Mr. Corvir Action that I'd like to come up on the stage and honor our honorable guest. Let's give a big hand. We have Mr. Mominul Islam with us, Mr. Mominul Islam, Managing Director and CEO, IPDC Finance Limited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inspiring the aspiring.
Thank you.
So how many of you dream of being a CEO someday? You guys are very lucky you get to see the most outstanding CEO of the year in front of you. All these are possible because of NYA 19, come on, isn't it? We are 500 youth under this one shade and we get to meet the people we have dreamt of meeting, and they are helping us to see the way towards our dream, right? Isn't it? Let's give a big hand for ourselves, for the youth, to the community. At at the same time, all of these are possible for all the supporters we have who have supported JAAGO Foundation time to time. We have many big organizations who have came forward to work for the youth, to work with JAAGO. So yes, now, we have some other guests, and definitely we have a lot more sessions today, a lot more interesting sessions. Now we have someone all the way from Washington, D.C., who is here with us. I will tell you, but youth, like all your faces. So